time. I thought the Jets, with Aaron Rodgers, with extra prep time, against Denver and a rookie quarterback, I thought this was a terrible spot for the Denver Broncos. Instead, it looked like the Jets didn't practice. It's time to recalibrate the Jets. They've played 4 games. They've been really good in one of them. The worst team in the league, New England, that was on a short week. They didn't play well against Tennessee. They got a Will Levis break. They got housed by the Niners, beat by Denver. Like, this team recalibrated. 4 games, 1 really good one. They are not a well-coached team. 13 penalties, cadence issues with veteran offensive linemen. Breece Hall, where'd he go? What happened to him? So Alan Lazard screwed up a drive with an idiotic penalty, had to settle for a field goal. That was Aaron's guy. We know Aaron seeks comfort, right? That was his guy. And Nat Hackett, that was his guy. Come on, this offense is just not good enough. Now, I will say Patrick Surtain, put him on Garrett Wilson, slows him down. We talked about that last week. You know, there's about 3 stop corners in the league, lockdown guys. Denver's got 1, so that was going to be a tough week for Garrett Wilson. But it was the penalties, Alan Lazard, veteran offensive lineman, cadence issues. This is not a well-coached team. And this has been the year of the underdog. Believe me, my picks Friday, it's been the year of the underdog. But that was a game you can't lose. The Jets, with Aaron Rodgers, a veteran O-line, had extra time to prepare for a Denver team that decided, let's just stay out east. It'll give us the only chance to win. And it was ugly. And I'm not blaming Aaron, but, you know, Aaron likes to be alone. He doesn't, like to be the only guy. And it felt like Aaron running around and scrambling and making up time with his feet. I'll give Aaron Rodgers credit. He wasn't very accurate. He didn't play particularly well. I don't know how to describe the cadence issues. That guy was running for his life. The 2 things we worried about with this team were Aaron Rodgers' health. Sacked 5 times, 14 hits. That is not the recipe. Games like the Jets season can't look like that. Aaron cannot take that beating. He did a great job to be active, to move his feet. He was scrambling. Give Aaron a ton of credit. But he wanted this offensive coordinator. This was his choice, and he wanted Alan Lazard, and they're not doing him favors. So the 2 things we worried about were Aaron's health. That didn't look good yesterday. And we worried about prickly Aaron, Robert Saleh in Green Bay. You have more veteran coaches, less chaos. We worried about Saleh and Aaron Rodgers. And after that awful performance at home against a rookie quarterback who threw for 60 yards, once again, feels like a little pettiness, a little anger. Hey, listen, I'm not blaming Aaron. We know he likes to be alone. He can't do it alone. I'm not blaming Aaron. And I do not think this is a well-run team. But last week, we were talking, oh, my God, ticker tape gets no, this is still a poorly coached, poorly owned team with an offensive line that's in flux. That's what it looked like. And a team you can't trust in big spots.
Okay, so let's talk about this. This was obviously an ugly game. Obviously, the weather was brutal, and that's why it made no sense for them to throw the ball 42 times. That just made that game plan alone made 0 sense. Truly 0 sense. That was a game that should have had 30, 35 carries, just run the ball. I mean, and kicking field goals. The score is 10-9, right? You're going up against rookie quarterback Bo Nix. Denver Broncos haven't exactly lit the world on fire. And so it's kind of indefensible to have the game plan of oh yeah, we're going to have Aaron throw the ball, 42 times. And it would have been more than that, right, if he wasn't sacked. So the game plan itself, I don't understand it. I really, really don't. Now, I'm not going to bury the New York Jets because in very specific situations like weather and stuff like that, I'm just not going to bury them and say, oh my God, they should have done better, because you can make the argument that the way that this team is constructed, you need Aaron to be able to throw the ball. You need Aaron to be able to successfully, be a passer of the football. You're going to live and die by Aaron Rodgers. That's the way how this team and this offense is designed. So when the weather takes away Aaron's ability to throw the ball successfully, it just disrupts the defense. It just disrupts the offense completely. right? It just becomes a house of cards. Some house of cards can look absolutely amazing and beautiful and massive. They can make things that literally are the size of like an actual house, but it can still get blown over. And that's potentially who the Jets are, right? The Jets can be legit. They can be high flying. They could win convincingly. They can control the game, but they're more fragile. We looked at the Jets before as a more fragile team because of injury issues, right? The risk of injury, the risk of injury is pretty high for the Jets because they have a lot of these, injury-prone athletes, and obviously an older quarterback coming off of an Achilles injury. And we talked about the fragility of that. We talked about that in the preseason, and that's honestly justifiable, right? It makes sense. History is history. But I think potentially when you think about a team like this, is very reminiscent because Colin likes to point out how successful Tom Brady was with the Buccaneers. Obviously, he won a Super Bowl and all of that. But when they took away Tom because of injury, right? When they took away the ability for Tom to really get going throwing the ball, and they asked Tom Brady to throw the ball like 40, I forget his final game in the playoffs against the Cowboys, when they asked him to throw the ball like 40, 50 times, whatever it is, they did not win. When they couldn't run the ball, even King Tom Brady himself could not win. That offense was designed to highlight Tom Brady, and if Tom Brady wasn't getting the passing game going, then the offense wasn't going anywhere, and you're getting rocked by the Dallas Cowboys, right? And that wasn't last. Did I say last year? I meant like his last year, so that was a couple years ago at this point. So that's what's going to happen. So that's why I'm not too concerned. There's obviously some concern because you should be able to win this game. You should be able to run the ball. You should be able to find a way to win this game, right? You just should. The Denver Broncos have not exactly been that great. And again, the other quarterback throws for 60 yards, right? 60 yards, scores 10-9. You got to win this game. You got to win this game. So they do deserve to take some heat for this loss, without a doubt. But like it is, right? Like he just said, last week everybody was ready to throw a parade. And now this week everyone's just to say, I told you Aaron Rodgers is a bum. The New York Jets, they're trash. Goodbye. Just crumble them up and throw them away. And it's like, we always love these swings, man. Like we can never just have nuanced discussions. And I'm not saying Colin's not nuanced, because I think Colin is very nuanced. But it just seems like the general consensus is always just such these large extremes. And that's why I always try to offer, multiple sides of the same story to try to get to the root of it, to try to get these takes to be more grounded rather than sensationalized. And so I think here with the Jets is like, right, how concerning was this Jets performance? Concerning, but not alarming. Not mayday, sinking ship. We're just rearranging, the tables on the Titanic, or whatever the heck the saying is. So I just think, it was one of those weird rainy games where your greatest asset, I mean, think about this. This is what I'll wrap up with. The Jets' greatest asset, the thing that will make the Jets great and ability to achieve the highest levels that they can, Aaron Rodgers, in that weather, he's neutralized. You're neutralizing the greatest benefit that you have for your team. When you neutralize that, well, you're going to get a wacky game like this. Like I said, I think the Jets should be built in a way that can make them more resilient to still win this game. But this is what happens when you go all in on your quarterback like this. That's just the way it goes. Seriously, Tom Brady would have lost that game. Patrick Mahomes lose that game unless they're going to be running more and stuff. But the way how this was called, the way how the game plan itself, that's what's going to happen. So again, you could blame Aaron for constructing the offense this way, for, maybe constantly going over Nathaniel Hackett. That's the problem. We don't know their relationship. We don't know how often Aaron is like, this is what we're doing, and Nathaniel Hackett's like, okay, like we don't really know, right? In a lot of ways, it feels like Aaron is the boss of Nathaniel Hackett. So it's just, hard to judge. So, but like I said, I just wouldn't be sounding the alarm just yet. Minnesota Vikings definitely going to be a tough game, no doubt about that. And I think it's in London or something, so that'll be interesting. But yeah, I don't know. This is more of a still kind of a wait and see situation. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the New York Jets? Are you concerned? Do you think this was alarming? Or do you think, no, this was just a weird one-off game? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.